women who've taken social media, changed the way it is defined for so many of us by using social media to teach.
In fact, Toya said 2 days, but if we sort of love the idea of every day being Women's Day, we'll take it to Monday also. But if that were to happen, what are your ideas about Women's Day? How are women of today redefining rules of the game? Are they redefining rules of the game? Is it a progressive chat or not? All of this is what we're going to chat about over the next couple of days. First up, let's look at what we've got on the program for you. Women who make it happen, taking charge one industry at a time, women leading the conversation. From finance to fashion, what are women creators actually doing differently in this decade?
And then we take you onto the roads. Look at the Mercedes-Benz E450 LWB. It's been put to the test by our Overdrive team. They're going to tell us if it is actually an understated sleeper, the Smart Buyers AMG. Is it subtle yet savage? These are some of the words that have been used to describe it. Can it actually be called the silent assassin? Does it live to everything it's been promised? That's what we're going to take a look at on the show.
Also on the program, Nas Daily speaks to CNN News 18 and he talks about politics, about religion, about viral content and what is his playbook to making things viral.
You know, the most successful content on the internet is porn.
Okay, yeah.
So if we really want to do what gets the most views, you would do porn. We're not doing porn.
Okay.
And then we bring you the entertainment lowdown for the week. Obviously, the biggest story, Oscars 2025. All of the highlights as Honora shined with 5 wins. Millie Bobby Brown claps back at trolls and slam trolls over age shaming. Kangana Ranaut and Javed Akhtar finally bury a 5-year hatchet. Our first story of the day, Women's Day 2025, comes with the theme Accelerate Action. Because change doesn't necessarily come from waiting, it comes from moving forward and refusing to settle for the status quo. We thought today would be a great day to highlight what Ruth Bader Ginsburg once said. Real change, enduring change, happens one step at a time.
So today we are speaking to women who are taking those steps boldly and with purpose. And what better way to mark this than spotlighting 3 women, 3 creators from 3 different industries.
All right, first up, we're going to have with us Dr. Tanya Narendra, better known as Dr. Cutress. She's one of India's most followed sexual health educators. She's smashing taboos. Frankly, she's been doing it for years now. And obviously, the whole goal is to make medical knowledge that's good for you, more accessible. Good morning, Tanya. We can actually see you already. We also have with us Shivangi Lahoty. She's a fashion designer and educator. Essentially, what she's doing is imparting design education and showing that creative talent isn't limited to those with privilege. She's both on Instagram as Designer Didi and on her YouTube channel, imparting education.
But when we look at women creators, we can't just talk about fashion. We can't just talk about medicine because these are fields where women are there. We have to talk about finance. This is one field which is infamous for having so many men. Ladkiyon ko numbers samajh mein nahi aate is a myth that it's high time we break it down. And so to do all of that, we've got Anushka Rathod with us. She's a content creator. She's also the author of The Money Guide and is also demystifying money matters, helping India's youth take charge of their finances. So ladies, welcome to the program. Welcome to TBC. It's an all women's club this morning. Couldn't be happier about that. And to open, can I just ask all 3 of you to answer this one question which I believe is often on everybody's mind. You know, what is this one rule maybe in your industry which is said to be either, you know, atypical thing or whatever, that you have broken and very proudly broken as a woman? Yeah? So think about it. Let me put Anushka on the spot because I know she's the one leading it. Yeah.
I think the
like the major thing of in especially in the finance industry and when I was working in co-finance was that whenever you walked into the room, it was always assumed that the female there, and it's happened so many times with me that it's really funny now that I would always be assumed, and it's a small thing I know, but it's just like how power dynamics work. Women would always be assumed to take minutes of the meeting, and so many times, even if you were an analyst, you were assumed to be the secretary or assistant to someone. And I think what I just stopped doing there is I just said, no, I'm sorry, I can't do that. I also want to participate in this meeting. And I also want an equal, and I am an equal. It's not that I want an equal. And I want to be a part of a discussion where you take what I say, regardless of my gender or not even considering that. You just take what I say as important as what others are saying. And I think in finance, there would be teams of like 20 people and we'd be like 1 or 2 females and we'd always be underconfident. We'd always second guess ourselves. But I think with time, what I have learned and what I've understood is that regardless of what your gender is, if you are confident enough and if you take up space, the world somewhere allows you to take it also. So just do that.
So Anushka has unapologetically broken the rule of not taking a seat on the table. She now takes a seat on the table. Dr. Cutress.
I think mine's slightly left field simply because I don't see a lot of human beings talking a lot about sex and sexual health in a public sphere. So I think it's slightly left field in the way that I'm not sure if it's a woman's space that I broke into. I think it's a human space that I broke into, which I think has been quite the challenge. And it has been something that it was very out of the... It was out of a very, very small space. There's a very, very tiny niche of people that talk about sexual health and that talk about women's health in particular. And to do that as a woman on the internet in the day and age when there's a lot of trolling and this is like a national problem at this point.
Yeah.
I think that's where things have gotten very, very interesting in a fun sort of way and a not so fun sort of way as well.
Yeah, it's an international problem if you ask me, but we live there. I like that. And Shivangi, then yours would be?
I think I started as an entrepreneur at 22, and I remember the first few years of starting my own brand and starting my own business. Every time I would go for vendor meets or I would go fabric shopping, I'd have people asking me, "To sir kahan hai?" Who's gonna do the billing? And there was a lack of trust, because they thought, how can a 22, 23-year-old girl start a brand of her own? And it was
must be the intern.
Yeah, I must be the intern. Credit kaise de sakte hain? How could you actually pay somebody or upfront give somebody fabric for paying later and all of that. So I think initial hiccups there were that I had to make people understand that I am the sir, I am the boss, like I run the show. And also I was very big on hiring women in the team because we have a lot of girls studying fashion. So in my industry, studying fashion is not, a difficult part, but the difficult part is being taken seriously. So even if you do take up fashion as a degree, it would be considered कि ये तो hobby है. मतलब, till you get married, you're doing it as a hobby. You need to have an actual legitimate degree in, BCom or BBA or CA or something, and then you can do this on the side as a hobby. And जब तक शादी नहीं हो रही, the girl's gonna sort of study and do this and time pass है. So I think that was a stereotype that needed to be broken. So for me, when I married at 30, when I started a brand at 22, when I decided, I'm not going to settle for less, I'm going to do my own thing, that was, I feel like, a stereotype that I was trying to break.
Very nice. I hope all those aunties who say, ये सब boutique चलाएंगी fashion चढ़ के. I hope all of them are listening right now and all of them are taking
The number of women
who
who told me, fall pico लगा दो हमारा, insane.
I also read this very heartbreaking statistic about, sorry to make it a little sad, but just to your point, Shivangi, a very heartbreaking statistic about just how many women study fashion, but then the proportion that drops when it comes to actually running their own labels. That big shift that you see when it comes to actually running your own companies. All right, I want to come to you similar to what Sonal just did. Let's just come to you each with the next question. And Dr. Cutress, we'll start with you on this next question. You know, today's a day of empowering women, so I also want to talk a little bit about the behind the scenes. Your mental health process, what it is that you tell yourself. Were you always this confident? Who are the people who you speak to when you need that, you know, encouragement? And who have been your northern lights? So not just people in your own life, people around you who you look up to, quotes, you know, do you have boards, mood boards, for example, that inspire you? What's your internal dialogue process? Dr. Cutress, we're coming to you.
I think I have never felt what I have done as something that's meant to be courageous, because I grew up in a household where we talked about these things in a very, very normal way. And
Both your parents were doctors, right?
My parents are doctors, and it's a very positive household. It's a very confidence building household. And how can talking about your body be a courageous step? We all have a body. Like, what is courageous about this at all? So I think that is where it was a bit of a shock for me when I came into the real world after medical school, and I started speaking to people, and I was like, oh no, people don't actually talk about this, and oh no, maybe you should shut up, maybe you're making people uncomfortable. So I think my baseline is slightly different in terms of
but what is meant to be. Trolls? Because Dr. Cutress, you've really had to deal with trolls on your Instagram post. Did that ever dent you? Was there a process there?
Yeah, my process is very simple. Try. It works very well. And I think it's very cathartic, because a lot of times things are just unfair. Like, it doesn't make sense. You're doing something because you're passionate about it. You have never felt shame about it, but people try to instill the idea of shame or the idea of questioning your self-worth onto you. Yeah. And I think that's the universal experience of being a woman. There's a lot of questioning everything you do, and a lot of questioning your worth, which is where having a very, very supportive family and a really nice circle of friends is fantastic. I also have the pleasure of not living in Delhi or Bombay. So I live in a big enough city where there's not a lot of traffic, so I can go to a nice park and sit and go for a walk, which all really, really helps.
Okay, let's move on. All of this is not great conversation in the morning. Let's not talk about traffic and mornings and all of that. This is too much. This is too much. I can't take it. But great point.
I love that you just cry. I love that honesty.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a great coping mechanism.
Yeah. But imposter syndrome, that's what she's talking about.
Yeah. Anushka, should we come to you next?
Right. I think how my mental health journey has been that initially when I started working, like before 25, there was just so much pressure to prove myself, because if you're not able to, you know, prove yourself, or at least the society I come from, early in your life, if you're not academically successful, if you're not successful career-wise, you somewhere are, you know, pressured into taking more traditional gender roles and responsibilities. So till, like, you know, in my early to mid 20s, I was just taking so much pressure, so much stress that, oh no, I need to do this. I need to, you know, take every opportunity. I need to be very methodological about how I am moving on in life, or what steps I'm taking, decisions I'm taking. But I think as you keep working and as you see the world beyond your immediate society, or as I saw that, what I realized is that, wait, it's, you know, there's like so many different people, so many thoughts. There are people who are like half the intelligence that I have, who are doing so much just because they have confidence and just because they genuinely enjoy their work. So I think somewhere, you know, when I entered my late 20s is when I realized that you don't have to take so much stress. It's not, you know, if not now, then never. You have your whole life to pursue whatever you want to pursue, and even if you fail, you will get more chances. I think as women, we are not so okay to fail. We always want to be, you know, perfect. We always want to be number one. We always want to be like, you know, the proper picture of things. But now I'm okay just being myself, enjoying.
It's the pressure of being the good girl, I think, to some degree. But that's the question. How do we turn our internal monologue around? It seems like all three of you have done that. Shivangi, if we could come to you to ask you a little bit more about, if your internal monologue, if you were born knowing, you know, that you're great at this, you should do this, or if that's been a process, telling yourself that.
So I'll tell you honestly, Toya, I come from a very small village a small town in Assam called Nazara. So, and this is the pre-internet era when I was exposed to fashion as a career. And thankfully for me, and thankfully, I think I'm really grateful to God that I had the most supportive set of parents possible. My dad actually introduced me to the concept of fashion designing. I remember he brought home like this in-flight magazine which had Ritu Kumar on the cover of it, and she was holding an award. And when I asked him, who's this person, because I was all about winning awards, right? I was 8, and he told me that she's a fashion designer, and she's just how you dress up Barbie dolls. She dresses up Preeti Zinta and Aishwarya Rai. And I was like, oh my God, this is what I have to do in my life. And at the age of 8, I think that clarity that came to me was from them, and the support that came, because being raised in a very small town like that, where you literally have one kirane ki dukaan, and to have that kind of exposure where your father and your mother are both, super supportive, कि हमें पता नहीं है कैसे बनते हैं, but we're going to be there for you at a time when I think I was ridiculed into telling, being called like a tailor, कि पढ़ी लिखी दर्जी बन रही है, like what is this even a career? So for me, I think my positive motivation or my internal dialogue has always come from the sort of support that I've had from my parents, both of them. So I genuinely owe my entire career to them. They've been there through thick and thin, even when they didn't understand. I remember when I started YouTube, I had relatives calling my parents and telling them कि लड़की पढ़ी लिखी है, academically bright है, ये क्या actor बनेगी? अब ये videos बना रही है. This is what she's gonna do because she's in Bombay. ये तो बिगड़ गई है. So, and I remember my dad telling them that she has a bigger purpose in life. She's trying to help kids. Ruk jao. Give her some time, right? So, because I did not ever have to face it upfront, they were always sort of shielding me. They were always letting me do my own thing, and they were always sort of taking care of all the external sort of drama that was going around. I could actually do what I wanted to.
Yeah.
So, I think for me that from a mental health space, I think when you have the support of your parents, half the battle is won, yeah. Because ghar mein, if you don't have anybody to fight with or anything to prove to anybody, then the world is secondary. No? It doesn't really matter. All of that is external noise.
You see the pattern over there? Good parenting, your internal voice. It always starts at home. It always starts with your core 3 or 4 people, and that is so nice. But can we move on to now that life has happened? Now that all of you have achieved this sort of, or I don't know if it's success, if it's a pursuit, or all of you are on a path that you're happy about. Can I ask you about this phrase called "women can have it all"? Is it empowering or is it absolutely exhausting? I want to start this time from Shivangi and then go the other way. Yeah.
I think it's empowering. I love the idea. I believe in manifestations. I really do. So, Toya, when you were talking about, Sonal, when you were mentioning manifestation boards and mood boards and all of that, it's an yearly ritual for me. I make it a point. I write down everything that I have to achieve in a year, and I am always looking at it, and no matter what I'm going through internally, I'll always be thinking that ये सब तो करना ही है, ये सब तो करना ही है, this is, and I think that approach in life usually does help. I mean, a news feature was one of the things last year on my vision board. कि अब बहुत काम कर लिया, अब एक बार ही तो आना है. And I actually started with the Breakfast Club last year. And, so I think when you put yourself out there, why not? Why not? We deserve it all. So why even question it even for a second? And I know men are going to hate me for saying this, but so many times in my career, I've seen that mediocre men get better jobs and positions than excellent women and better pay. There is the pay parity because
the pay is really a clincher there. Sorry,
it is, and it's so frustrating.
Stop it, Toya. Bosses are watching.
They should be. Hope it helps, but yeah, the whole point is that we deserve better, but the imposter syndrome just sort of kicks in because generations of being told.
Hear you loud and clear, Shivangi. But I was coming from the space of women can have it all. Like I personally find it sometimes extremely exhausting that women are held to this standard of having it all. Bhai, I can't have it all the time. I'm allowed to have my downs, and there will be phases where I might not have it at all. So I'm just human at the end of the day, but just because I'm a woman, I'm not supposed to ace on the job front, on the home front, on the mommy front, on the friend front, on the spouse front. I can't do it all. So sometimes I find it very exhausting, but that's why I wanted to ask this question. Do you guys find it empowering or do you find it exhausting? Dr. Kutris.
I think the last time you and I met, we were talking about, you were sharing your experience of, becoming a recent mother and how much that brings on to your plate. And I think women are fed this impossible lie that you're supposed to have it all. And I find it very exhausting. I also think it's a very capitalistic notion that you're supposed to have it all in a way that the world defines for you. It's very funny you bring up this question today because my phone wallpaper is literally a very happy mushroom that says the key to having it all is that knowing you already do. And I think that reframing has done wonders for me, for my mental health, and the kind of pressure we put on ourselves as women and society puts on us as women to define what having it all is. Just because I'm not married, just because I have a certain way I lead my life, does that mean I don't have it all? Who is to define that? And I think it's a very, very personal definition without putting a lot of, as women, we question ourselves so much, I think more than the average human being. So I personally don't subscribe to this notion, and I also think it is a bit done to death.
Anushka?
I completely agree. It's exhausting. And I think we've already made the relevant points. So I'll just say that I don't want to have it all. And I am making very active efforts to not have it all. What I want from my future is to have a partner, is to have an equal partnership where we distribute things equally. And if in certain areas in my family or my social circle, I deem as, or I come across as someone who is not the most ideal, I am completely with it. I want to live life according to my terms. And the only people who have to understand that is people who are close to me, people who matter to me. So I don't want to have it all. I just want to have the life that I want to have.
We discussed this a lot, and I remember just a few days ago we were talking about the Michelle Obama quote that you can have it all, just not at the same time.
Yeah.
And if you change the way, similar to what you were saying, Dr. Kutris, if you change the way you look at it, maybe that can help us all sort of get ahead with our day-to-day.
I want that wallpaper, Dr. Kutris.
Yeah, the little mushrooms.
I want it on my vision board now.
That's our TBC takeaway today. Wait, so can we ask you, because today is Women's Day, I want to give all of you a jadoo.
Tomorrow, but every day.
Not even
every
tomorrow,
day.
actually Saturday.
Every day is Women's Day. Yeah,
let's just give you guys a jadoo ki chhadi right now. I want to ask each of you if you could change one thing about the way India thinks. And it can be particular to your field. So Dr. Kutris, I know every day there are trolls who post silly comments on your videos. It can be in regards to the way they look at their sexual health. We can come to each of you for this question. Anushka, let's actually start with you because we came to you last time. What's the one thing you want to change about the way it can even be young Indians think?
Yeah, it's just that women can understand finance. Women are good with math. Just give them the opportunity. It's not a cerebral problem. It's an opportunity problem. Just give them education and they will take smart financial decisions for everyone. It's been proven women are smarter and better at finance and making financial decisions than men.
Yeah. You want to go to Dr. Kutris next?
Yeah, let's go to you.
Okay.
I've been called a very demanding and ambitious woman, so I'm going to stay true to my brand. And I'm going to ask for two things actually. The first would be that the HPV vaccine goes on the national immunization protocol. So India is the country that leads the world in the most deaths from cervical cancer, which is the only cancer in the whole world that is preventable with a vaccine. So I wish that the vaccine is available free for all. Currently, it's like 9,000 rupees per dose if you get the dose after the 15 years of age. That would be number one. And number two would be period pain to be taken seriously and not dismissed, not just by the medical fraternity, but by people at large. It's a real problem, and I think it's something that we all silently suffer through or are, mocked for not being strong enough when we do talk about it. So I really wish that changes.
I hope some women parliamentarians are watching all of that was just said. Yeah, Shivangi.
I think I'm going to go back to my earlier statement of the fact that women in general and designers in general need to be taken up more seriously, not just in terms of studying design, but also being supported when it comes to working in the industry, when it comes to starting their own brands. Because, Toya, as you very rightly brought up, there's not enough financial support, there's not enough support coming in from families. For a lot of these girls, it's considered hobby hai, kar lo, theek hai, jab tak shaadi nahi hoti, right? So I would really want that narrative to change, where you take your daughter's profession just as seriously as your son's, and you invest in your daughter's career more than you invest in her marriage, because that's usually the case.
Yeah, that's where the saving
Tarun
happens.
Tehliana lehenga, wear a Sabyasachi lehenga because she's graduated from a design school. But what about that career, right? So rather than investing that crore rupee in her shadi, maybe invest that in her business and let her become independent.
Or
So-
let her choose. Let her choose at least is my
yeah,
hope,
let her
right?
give her the option to choose. Yeah, give her the option to at least choose, and give her the time to actually use her learnings from her creative career and her design degree. Use it in the industry, right? Rather than just sort of putting it as a tick box or a check box on the list of things you've done. Ki haan, padha diya, kar diya, and now that's it. That's about it. So, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, we have a little more time, so let me just go around the table on one more question. What is the one thing women should stop apologizing for in 2025?
Everything. But we'll come to you for more nuanced answers.
Yeah? One thing that women should stop apologizing for. Dr. Cutris.
Their body. I think a lot of women feel so conscious, especially when it comes to intimacy, that the first thing they'll apologize to their partner will be like, I'm so sorry, like my body looks different to what you're expecting it to look like in pornography. Or they're apologizing to themselves or to their friends, oh sorry, I have hairy legs, I didn't shave today. Or like a lot of my patients come to me and they're like, oh sorry, you can't examine me, I haven't shaved down there. So I mean, you're a man, but you're supposed to have hair on your body. So I really wish we took more ownership and more dignity and took up space in our bodies.
Anushka, what are you hoping women stop apologizing for?
Just for not being like 100% perfect all the time. It's okay if you are you have your low days, your down moments, and it's okay for asking for help. You don't have to apologize if you don't know something or if you're not being able to do something at work, and even if you're not able to manage it. Just stop being sorry for not being able to do it all, and just ask for help. And I'd also want to before we move ahead, say these one things. Both of you are like just such smiling assassins. Like, you've been making such smart and important statements, but with a smile. And it's great. I think you're putting it across in like a very friendly manner, but there's such important points.
I'm so glad you said that, because a lot of people think that just having a smiling, pretty face, caked up in makeup is all that it takes to run TV channels, or all that it takes to run shows. But I'm so glad you brought it up, Anushka. Really, really sweet of you. And I think that I say that for both Toya and my behalf, and the team, which is largely women.
Yeah, I was going to say we have a woman
largely women team.
Yeah, that's probably
and wanna
smiling
say-
right now, yeah.
Yeah. So just want to say thanks on their behalf as well. Shivangi, you're going to stop apologizing for what?
I think everything in general. I think we need to stop being sorry for being late. Stop being sorry for not showing up for a family event because we were busy with work. Stop showing up for. Yeah, yeah. I feel like there's so much guilt attached to not being able to be there at all times as a sister, as a daughter, as a wife, for everyone at all times. And it kind of gets exhausting sometimes, and you want to sort of not hold yourself. I mean, it's okay, to not have it all together and to sort of be yourself sometimes. And I feel like that's so important as well. So 100% stop apologizing for who you are, and also stop apologizing for your dreams. I feel like so many women out there are sorry for having dreams. They're constantly guilty about it. ज़्यादा सोच लिया, ज़्यादा सपने देख लिए. So I feel like if you stop apologizing for all of that, you're going to be so much happier. So yeah.
If we could almost have women spend more time on their dreams, and I just mean even dreaming about your dreams. You know what I mean? The process of thinking about what you want, how you want it to look. And I don't mean, an object, I mean the things you want to achieve in your life. It can be so indulgent, but it can be so, so rewarding.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. All right, couldn't have asked for a better start to the morning. Thank you all, ladies,
This
for joining
has felt like
us.
therapy, yeah.
Yeah, this did feel like therapy. You're right about that. This has to be a club that goes on. The Breakfast Club has turned into a women's club this morning, and we are absolutely unapologetic about it. All those comments that we're going to get on YouTube, but what about men? मर्दों की बात क्यों नहीं करते? उनकी भी बात करेंगे. Men's Day आने दीजिए, उनके बारे में भी बात करेंगे.
तब हम गायब हो जाएंगे, but
No, why not? We'll embrace that as well. We are not taking sides over here. Thank you all so much for joining us. Thank you for doing what you're doing, and good luck with going and achieving everything that's on your vision board.
Thank you. Thank you.
Goodbye. Have a beautiful day.
All right, after that chat, I think we need to soak that in a little bit. So how about we slip into a very quick break and come back and we talk to other creators. This time, one who is an international sensation. We are talking about Nas Daily. A chat with him coming up in a moment from now.
सर आप बहुत लकी हैं.
I'm also working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians and Russians have been needlessly killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense. With no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes. $2,000 people are being killed every single week. More than that. They're Russian young people. They're Ukrainian young people. They're not Americans, but I want it to stop. Meanwhile, Europe has sadly spent more money buying Russian oil and gas than they have spent on defending Ukraine, by far. Think of that. They've spent more buying Russian oil and gas than they have defending. And we've spent perhaps $350 billion, like taking candy from a baby. That's what happened. And they've spent $100 billion. What a difference that is. And we have an ocean separating us, and they don't. But we're getting along very well with them, and lots of good things are happening. Biden has authorized more money in this fight than Europe has spent by billions and billions of dollars. It's hard to believe that they wouldn't have stopped it and said at some point, come on, let's equalize. You got to be equal to us. But that didn't happen. Earlier today, I received an important letter from President Zelensky of Ukraine. The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than the Ukrainians, he said. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. We do really value how much America has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it at any time that is convenient for you. I appreciate that he sent this letter, just got it a little while ago. Simultaneously, we've had serious discussions with Russia and have received strong signals that they are ready for peace. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful? It's time to stop this madness. It's time to halt the killing. It's time to end this senseless war. If you want to end wars, you have to talk to both sides. Nearly 4 years ago, amid rising tensions, a history teacher named Mark Fogel was detained in Russia and sentenced to 14 years in a penal colony. Rough stuff. The previous administration barely lifted a finger to help him. They knew he was innocent, but they had no idea where to begin. But last summer, I promised his 95-year-old mother, Malphine, that we would bring her boy safely back home. After 22 days in office, I did just that, and they are here tonight. I'm also working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians and Russians have been needlessly killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense with no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes. "2,000 people are being killed every single week. More than that. They're Russian young people. They're Ukrainian young people. They're not Americans. But I want it to stop. Meanwhile, Europe has sadly spent more money buying Russian oil and gas than they have spent on defending Ukraine, by far. Think of that. They've spent more buying Russian oil and gas than they have defending.
Welcome back, and next is a chat with Nussair Yassin. Who are we talking about? Nas Daily. That's how we all know him. We know him for his 1-minute videos creation. We also sat down with him for a candid conversation on everything from content creation to politics. He also spoke about the Gaza conflict, religion, war, and the reality of making content in today's world where there is a massive overdose of content.
He also shared why he believed people shouldn't blindly chase content creation and has dropped a very, very honest take on what actually dominates the internet and his thoughts around it. Take a look. This is a conversation.
The most successful content on the internet is porn.
Okay, yeah. So it's a good life
Yeah.
being a vlogger or being a social media personality. But
Yeah.
is it?
80% of the money goes to the top 20% of the creators.
So the Pareto principle applies there too.
100% it applies there. I'll tell you, if you're trying to find happiness from social media, like it doesn't work. Happiness can be found by having kids, finding a wife or a husband, a boyfriend or girlfriend. I think that's the easiest way, and being healthy. I will never make a video attacking somebody or something.
So how did you come to the 60-second formula?
The 60-second formula is because I have ADHD. When I was doing 1,000 videos in 1,000 days, every day was just one video. So I wake up a day and say, I want to share one idea with the world. My learning from Kumbh is that I think humanity needs this. Like humans need shared culture, shared religion, shared rituals, shared beliefs, because that is what makes us a community. And Kumbh really gave people feeling that, oh, we belong in India. Israel and Palestine, I understand more than 99% of the world, so I speak up. And I want 99% of the world to shut up.
Got it.
You know what I mean? So anyway, I only speak about things I understand. In reality, people just don't want to die. So I think Israelis just don't want to die. Israelis don't enjoy. They don't enjoy going to war. They don't want war. And this is something that a lot of people disagree with. Israelis do not want war.
you're air dashing into India and you're going out, and then you've taken this time out amidst all the jet lag and battling with it. So let me first ask you, this 42% life on you is do you really
I don't have any other
or are you still
t-shirt.
charging?
That's the only t-shirt I have. Do you know that? I have 10 of the same design and I wear nothing else. This means this is the percentage of my life that's over. I'm 33. You're supposed to die at 76 on average. 33 out of 76 is 42%. And this basically reminds me to use my time wisely and just live life as much have as much fun as
So in
possible.
your wisdom, you've thought that, okay, I'll have this conversation here on News 18. So that's fantastic. Thank
That
you for
is part of what makes life amazing, yes.
So let's start with, how did social media, Instagramming, meta platforms, and then vlogging happen for you? How did this whole process start?
Look,
and when?
Just like a traditional Indian family, my family also told me that I should become an engineer, then I do what I love. You know?
Okay. First study, get your graduation, get your
first-
degree, and then you do whatever you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. And that's exactly what I did. I studied and I became an engineer and I didn't love it. Then I was like, you know what I love? Media, this. And so I started to do this. So I left my job and I started to do videos every single day, and nobody really paid attention. But you know, after 2 weeks of doing Nas Daily, I went to India because there's so many stories in India, so many ideas and videos, the content that you can make here. And then, you know, after 1,000 days, Nas Daily blew up and it became one of the biggest things on social media. And now I'm not really thinking of making videos. Now I'm thinking of making companies. That is the next challenge.
So from vlogger to entrepreneur.
Exactly.
So you've got two companies now, a media company and a tech company.
Correct.
So you're trying to saddle media and tech together. Is that what you're trying to do?
That's basically what we're trying to do. The people, you know, media, we built Nas Daily and we try to help other people build Nas Daily. We try to help you if you're a government, if you're a tourism agency, if you're a brand, if you're a company, a startup. You want to build your own Nas Daily on social media? We can do that. It's called 1000 Media. And then on the tech side, we help content creators make money online because it's so difficult to make money online. And that is sort of my life's mission now. We're 100 people. I used to be one, now we're 100. And it's fun. I highly recommend everybody build a company.
You say it's difficult to make money online, and you ask all the offliners, they believe that all the onliners are the one making money. Money
No
in
one is
digital
making money. You know what? No, I mean,
So then where's the money going?
do you think it's easy to make money online?
I don't know. I don't know.
It's
I
very
don't know.
hard.
I think the perception is that like they look at the success stories. So there will be 1,000 people doing content out there, and the 10 that make it.
Exactly.
I think that built the perception.
Yes.
And they say, oh, he's making millions there. Oh, he's making so much money there. He's got so many followers and so many. She's got so many followers. They're really having. It's a good life.
Yes.
Being a vlogger or being a social media personality. But
Yes.
is it?
80% of the money goes to the top 20% of the creators.
So the Pareto principle applies there too.
100% it applies there. And yeah, for those that don't know, it just means the few make the most. So what do we do with the remaining 80%? Those are the ones we're trying to help to make money and, you know, make a living doing what they love. Because everybody loves creating content. Everybody loves doing Instagram. It's the dream job. It's so much better than engineering, you know, and it's just, if we can help you figure out how to make money from it, then you win.
Does everybody love to do it, or does everybody think it's the easy way to make money? There's a difference there, Nas. So I'm asking you that because if you are a content creator and you love to do what you do, it's a different approach.
Yeah.
Or if you look at this is an easy way. I just need to shoot a video of mine. I need to just get them to get people to like me, and I'll make money. That's the lazy way.
That I actually think it's the first one. I think people love to express themselves and talk to the world and build a community. That is what humans are made for. We're not made for accounting. We're not made to become lawyers. We're made to build community as humans. So that is what being an Instagrammer is. You're building a community.
Yeah, but let me also ask you this. Those people who are trying to build a community online, do they really have a community offline? Or are they two different people?
That's a very good question, actually, because they're actually two different people. You can see somebody with 1 million followers on Instagram and like zero real life community. And you can see somebody with 10,000 followers on Instagram, but a massive offline community. It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. These are two separate worlds. But the most powerful people are the ones that build it online and offline.
But the argument is that those who have an online community but don't have an offline deal with stress and deal with this entire thing of being appreciated and this whole value game. Those who have an offline community but not an online community lead a healthier, happier, funnier life and a better life.
That's interesting.
So,
which
side of the argument?
Can I disagree with that? Please. Because the grass is always greener. You know, when you have money, you want fame. When you have fame, you want money. When you have an online community, you want it offline. When you have an offline community, you want it online. It's like, it's never enough. That's humans. It's never enough.
So that means no matter what, there will always be, okay, I've got this, I need that. So your eyes are never on what you have, but what do you want to have.
Do you agree or disagree?
I think for a lot of people, yes. But I also feel that there are a lot of people who have started learning to value what they have. There are things that they would want or they would need, but there are a lot of people who are happy, they value what they have. And I don't know if you see it in society. I see a lot of people today saying, I want to be happy now. I don't want to be stressed, I want to be happy. Now it's a double game, because this whole thing about appreciation, need for appreciation is a very core human tendency, like you just said. But does that then tend to put you and drive you over the edge when you're living in a digital world? Because you're as good as your previous video, you're as good as your next 1,000 followers. So
100%.
So how do you deal with it? That's what I'm asking you. How should people deal with it?
How do you find happiness? I mean, I'll tell you, if you're trying to find happiness from social media, like it doesn't work. Happiness can be found by having kids, finding a wife or a husband, a boyfriend or girlfriend. I think that's the easiest way, and being healthy. That's the easiest way to be happy. But if you want to be satisfied and feel that you're doing something meaningful, I highly suggest you actually go on social media. Because social media gives you an insane satisfaction that you're affecting change in society.
All right then, the Oscars are done and dusted, and while Anora emerged as the big winner, there were a few surprises as well. Historic Indian mention in a moment that had social media buzzing. Meanwhile, Millie Bobby Brown takes a strong stand against relentless scrutiny, and Rashmika Mandanna finds herself in political crosshairs. The new twists emerge in Gene Hackman's mysterious passing as well.
Right, and in a surprising turn of events, Kangana Ranaut, Javed Akhtar have finally buried the hatchet. It was a 5-year-long standing feud. We're bringing you the entertainment lowdown on Thursday this week. Tomorrow we're going to be looking at slightly different matters. Tatas is here with all of the entertainment buzz of the last week. Take a look.
Hello there. Let's take a quick look at the week that was. The 97th Academy Awards took place earlier this week. Anora won 5 awards, including Best Picture. Mikey Madison took home the award for the Best Actress for a role in the film. Anuja, backed by Priyanka Chopra Jonas and Guneet Monga Kapoor, unfortunately lost in the Best Live Action Short Film category. However, India found a historic mention as host Conan O'Brien addressed the country in Hindi, saying Namaskar. Other highlights include Paul Tazewell becoming the first black man to win the Oscar for Best Costume Design, and Zoe Saldana, the first American of Dominican descent to win an Academy Award. Millie Bobby Brown called out the relentless media scrutiny and obsession over her appearance. I refuse to make myself smaller to fit the unrealistic expectations of people who can't handle seeing a girl become a woman. I will not be shamed for how I look, how I dress, she said. Her rebuttal came after an intense wave of criticism which she faced for looking older than her age following her appearance at the Los Angeles premiere of The Electric State. A while back, netizens trolled Millie for allegedly going under the knife. At that time, she hit back at trolls saying, "Women grow, not sorry about it." Rashmika Mandanna has been accused of insulting and disregarding Kannada language by a Karnataka Congress MLA. The Karnataka legislator said that Rashmika, who began her career with a Kannada film titled Kirik Party, allegedly refused to attend the Bengaluru International Film Festival, despite being invited multiple times to the event, saying she didn't have time to visit the state. However, a source close to Rashmika refuted the allegations. The source added that their statement was issued for placing the correct facts on record and quelling any false narratives.
Yeah, I was thinking...
Gene Hackman's death has taken a new turn after investigations revealed that his pacemaker stopped working 10 days before he and his wife were found dead at their New Mexico home. The causes of their death are not known yet. The pair did not show any external trauma and there were no immediate signs of foul play according to the post-mortem. Authorities ruled out carbon monoxide poisoning too. However, experts say that pills, phones and trash could provide important hints. The retired actor was paid by a tribute to by Morgan Freeman at the 97th Academy Awards that took place on Monday. Kangana Ranaut recently announced that she and Javed Akhtar have resolved their differences amicably through mediation. In her Instagram post, she was all praise for the veteran writer and even mentioned that he has agreed to write songs for her next directorial outing. For the unversed, their legal battle began in 2020 when she claimed that he asked her to apologize to Hrithik Roshan, who had filed a lawsuit against her in 2016, post a public spat over a statement on their alleged relationship. Soon, the lyricist filed a complaint claiming she made defamatory statements against him which allegedly damaged his reputation. That's all for this week. See you soon.
Also working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians and Russians have been needlessly killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense with no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes. $2,000 people are being killed every single week. More than that. They're Russian young people. They're Ukrainian young people. They're not Americans. But I want it to stop. Meanwhile, Europe has sadly spent more money buying Russian oil and gas than they have spent on defending Ukraine, by far. Think of that. They've spent more buying Russian oil and gas than they have defending. And we've spent perhaps $350 billion, like taking candy from a baby. That's what happened. And they've spent $100 billion. What a difference that is. And we have an ocean separating us, and they don't. But we're getting along very well with them, and lots of good things are happening. Biden has authorized more money in this fight than Europe has spent by billions and billions of dollars. It's hard to believe that they wouldn't have stopped it and said, at some point, come on, let's equalize. You got to be equal to us. But that didn't happen. Earlier today, I received an important letter from President Zelensky of Ukraine. The letter reads, Ukraine is ready to come to the negotiating table as soon as possible to bring lasting peace closer. Nobody wants peace more than the Ukrainians, he said. My team and I stand ready to work under President Trump's strong leadership to get a peace that lasts. We do really value how much America has done to help Ukraine maintain its sovereignty and independence. Regarding the agreement on minerals and security, Ukraine is ready to sign it at any time. that is convenient for you. I appreciate that he sent this letter, just got it a little while ago. Simultaneously, we've had serious discussions with Russia and have received strong signals that they are ready for peace. Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful? Wouldn't that be beautiful? It's time to stop this madness. It's time to halt the killing. It's time to end this senseless war. If you want to end wars, you have to talk to both sides. Nearly 4 years ago, amid rising tensions, a history teacher named Mark Fogel was detained in Russia and sentenced to 14 years.
Welcome back, and right before we end today's program, here's a story, a success one coming in from Kumbh. Now, there have been several of these stories, but one remarkable journey of this man, a boatman, and his family from Prayagraj during the entire Kumbh season. Guess how much they made in trade in just ferrying people from one end to the other? 30 crores in just 45 days. You heard that right. 30 crore in 45 days is what this family has ended up making thanks to the Kumbh.
माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, माननीय मुख्यमंत्री जी, योगी आदित्यनाथ जी, उनका और बहुत बड़ा योगदान रहा और इन्होंने भव्य कुंभ बनाया, डिजिटल कुंभ बनाया। इसी कारण श्रद्धालु बहुत अधिक से अधिक आए, बहुत ज़्यादा। इसी कारण हम नाविकों का भी इसी वजह से कमाई हुआ। हमारे परिवार वाले सबके पास 10-10, 20-20 नाव थे, 15 नाव, 10 नाव, 5 नाव। योगी जी का धन्यवाद, मोदी जी का धन्यवाद। बहुत खुश हैं, बहुत हम लोगों ने जितना सोचा नहीं था उससे ज़्यादा कमाया।
Okay, but there was actually a very practical decision Pintu made. He took his life, in fact, took a very dramatic turn after he decided that, anticipating that itne log aayenge, that there will be a massive influx of devotees, he expanded his fleet from 60 to 130 boats ahead of the Mahakumbh. That's what led to that big boom. His success, though, isn't an isolated case. The Mahakumbh has brought this kind of economic prosperity to thousands and thousands of those who were involved in the Mela economy, the Mela industry in and around Prayagraj. All right, with that, we are drawing our show to a close. Thank you for staying with us. We continue to focus on women and women's empowerment tomorrow, and as Sonal was saying earlier, on Monday too.
Until then, take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
MDH का किचन।
I'm also working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians and Russians have been needlessly killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense. With no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes. $2,000 people are being killed every single week. More than that. They're Russian young people. They're Ukrainian young people. They're not Americans, but I want it to stop. Meanwhile, Europe has sadly spent more money buying Russian oil and gas than they have spent on defending Ukraine. by far. Think of that. They've spent more buying Russian oil and gas than they have defending. And we've spent perhaps $350 billion, like taking candy from a baby. That's what happened. And they've spent $100 billion. What a difference that is. And we have an ocean separating us, and they don't. But we're getting along very well with them, and lots of good things are happening. Biden has authorized more money in this fight than